gotta have attention to detail to stand out. Going back to virality, it's not just standing out in content, you know. Every single frame has to be engaging and rehook the audiences. Because virality is closely linked to engagement and retention.
Kevin is one of the fastest growing content creators in Singapore that's created multiple viral accounts and a combined view of 35 million views, inspiring an action for kindness and entrepreneurship.
The more people watch it, the more the algo picks it up, the more it goes viral. It's that simple, but people don't break it down to a science. The greatest real estate you can own.
Kevin is also an entrepreneur that has built many businesses to 7 figures, while his mission this year is to give out $200,000. Kevin's attention to details is something that is very valuable, very rare, right? To find someone who is a good educator and a good content creator at the same time.
It's not about me and what I stand to gain. It's about them and what I'm privileged to give. I would gladly take 1,000 hate comments to save one life.
Welcome to the 3M Show, where we interview self-made millionaires and entrepreneurs on the topics of money, mindset, and mastery. Today, we are very lucky to invite a special guest, Kevin Wee. Kevin, so nice to have you, man.
Thank you. Where do I look at? This one, right? Thank you.
You can look at my eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sacrificing your protocol. I know it's only 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs supposedly on this podcast. Yeah. I've not reached that yet. Eventually, thank you for having me here.
Bro, I don't like it when you use the word sacrifice. Because I think it's my honor to have you. Your influence in content creation world and in Singapore is undeniable, and it's my honor to have you here.
Likewise.
Thanks, brother.
You look very exuberant. You know, must be making a lot of money traveling the world, Edrick. Because the time I first met him, he was really a fantastic guy. But he's just growing in enthusiasm, growing in richness, not just financially, but in other areas. He has helped me tremendously.
Thank you, brother. I have to look up the word exuberant.
That's my camera, right? That's my camera.
Okay.
Please sign up for Edrick's free class right now and his master class as well.
Okay, Kevin, I really want to ask you a question. Let's jump straight to it.
Right.
I mean, you're known to have given 10K to Speed, right? Some think they're a genius, some hate you. Do you regret doing it?
I think there's no profitability in regret. I think whatever you do, you take ownership for it. You take the lessons and you move on. Would I have done things a bit differently? Absolutely not. I know you probably expect me to say yes. I'll say no. Because if I'd done things differently, I would not have got the lessons that I've got. I would not have gained the influence that I've had. I would not have faced the hate, which I think is the best teacher. I think success is a horrible teacher. I think when you falter slightly, when you have friction emotionally, that is stimulus for growth. And I've learned so much from this incident. If you just purely talk about ROI financially, obviously it's a massive ROI financially. People don't see that.
For sure.
Entrepreneurs, it is like a no-brainer.
How many views do you get for like that clip?
Frankly speaking, it's in the tens of hundreds of millions.
Wow. That ROI is crazy, man.
Yeah, so combined total clips-wise, traditional media, hundreds of millions. But it's not just that. It's the fact that an ultra-marathon runner said this to me once I'll never forget. He crossed the finish line on crutches with a tire behind his back. I asked him why. He said, when the people around me see me cross the finish line, they'll remember it for life. And he told me this, I'll never forget this. He said, the greatest real estate you can own is in the corner of somebody's mind.
Wow.
I never forget that. And I realized my content is just that. That Speed thing stuck in people's mind to the point that 8-year-old girls can't Kevin, can I raise you? And then you have people at 3 a.m. at a random McDonald's, Grab drivers with full sleeves saying, you want to raise me. That is the beauty of it.
That's cool, man. And you live in the hate rent-free.
Yeah. And because of that also, the ease of business is easier because there's more trust. People are aware of who you are. Right? And it's a good filter as well because people would think I'm crazy, I'm stupid. They know business is me now. It's a faster filter.
Yep. Well, thanks for sharing, man. I think that's really interesting. I think we're going to dive deeper into your content story before we talk about business.
Nice, lovely. So 2 focus for today.
Yes. So firstly, content.
Yeah.
Secondly, we'll talk about money and business. So bro, I noticed while you're doing the Speed thing, when you gave out 10K, many people are very cynical and they were hating with your success. Like, why do you think are Singaporeans so cynical?
I think the actual question to ask is, why not? Why would they not be cynical when we stratify kids from young? From young, we're conditioned, the moment they're born, we're conditioned that for them to win, somebody else is to lose. They're pit against their relatives, they're pit against their siblings. And teachers, my time, right, they pass our marks on the lowest to the highest. You know, think of that. Think of the influence that has on people's psyche and self-esteem, man.
Yep.
Right? So why would we not be cynical? We are so threatened by other people's success. We are taught to compete and not to collaborate. That's why Singaporeans in particular, I don't know about other countries, we have genuine difficulty, right, celebrating people's success because we feel threatened by it.
They call
And
it
it even took me a long time to unlearn this. Even now, when I first started content creation, actually, or in fact before I started content creation, I was very envious of creators. Fascinating. And the people that I'm envious about now, right, it's damn funny. Now make videos about me.
Wow.
Saying that they don't like me or whatever. It's damn funny. It's damn funny. So my point is that, sorry, going back to the main point, I think we have to change a massive shift in culture. If not, we'll continue being cynical.
I fully agree with you, man. Like when we see someone successful, right, we tend to hate and we tend to get threatened by their success. But actually, in fact, when you get inspired, that's where you gain more than that. So would you say that, initially you mentioned that you were like hating on, or you were envious of other creators? Like, would you say that the moment you start taking it as inspiration, you became better? Would you say that?
It's still a journey. Okay. It's still a journey. And I think sometimes a bit of that competition is necessary for growth. You feel that urge to compete. You are competitive, you're competitive.
For sure.
That pushes us forward. But it cannot come to a point where your entire esteem is built around that you face anxiety, that it detracts you from productivity. I think that's the line that you cross that becomes unproductive. And for a lot of people, we need to find that line. Now I'm a lot more inspired, but it's also because I'm also considered a big creator now. So it's a bit harder for me to feel envy now when I'm also getting those views. You know what I mean? So it's a bit it's hard for me to really understand it now versus in the past where I was suppressed, where I ran a direct sales business, where I could not create any form of content because of the stigma in the industry.
If we approach people's success as inspiration, would it help people a lot more?
So yes, I'm trying to. I'm looking at you, I'm getting inspired. I'm intentionally telling myself, what can I learn from this person? Instead of, this person is stealing my business. Right. And I think that has been quite helpful. You have taught me that as well.
But I mean, not gonna lie, like there was a phase of life where I definitely like get envious very easily. And I like how you're being so open about it. I think among the audience, there are many people who are keen to be content creators. Being one of the fastest growing content creators in Singapore, what would you say are your top 3 habits that you have that brought you to where you are today?
No love life.
No love life.
I mean, the slight truth to that, like I'm obsessed and I don't have time for anything else. That's why I'm able to produce stuff. Number one reason, like if I were to speaking to you like that, right, and suddenly, right, I raise my volume. Why does that capture attention? Because it's a pattern interrupt, right? It's novel, it's unique. And that's the biggest reason, right, for virality. You have to stand out. You have to be a pink elephant in a sea of black elephants. Sorry, that's a big one. Gray elephants. Okay? You gotta be uncommon amongst the uncommon. That's what David Goggins said. And you have to stand out. If not, your content will not go viral. That's the first thing. Second thing is speed. No pun, no reference to what I did with speed. But part of why speed is popular is because it's spontaneous. Speed is important because the time your idea comes to the time you execute it, you have probably 5 to 10 second window before your brain tricks you to thinking you can't do it. You get fear, you justify like maybe this people don't like, maybe people it's cringe, whatever. I'm not saying become like Amos E. I'm not saying strip naked, but I'm saying within reason, a lot of ideas go into the graveyard because we do not act on it. And all my best viral ideas, even the speed thing, I thought about it, I said, hey, maybe cool, maybe not. I just decided, you know what, I posted on my stories. The next day I went to the stadium to do a random piece of content, training to raise speed. Did I actually believe that I would meet him? Maybe not. Maybe 10% chance. But I just put it out there. Coach Chester picked it up. Speed contacted Coach Chester, and then Coach Chester contacted me.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you put things out in a thing, it has a higher chance of it happening, and the actor earned it very fast. Radical Games was the same thing. The Squid Games, I was like trying to chase Jian Hao now because Jian Hao did a Squid Game thing, right? And I was like, I want to be in the Squid Game, and I was going to text him and say, hey, can you get me in? Then I think to myself, what the fuck? Are you a beggar? Just do it yourself lah. Then the next day I went to the library to shoot Squid Game. I didn't have a plan. I said, okay, tell my editor, we go there, we shoot Squid Game's library scene. I go up to the person, do you want to play a game? In my freaking random jacket. That video got 50k views.
So on the day you thought of the idea?
The next day.
The next day you went?
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, next day I went. I didn't have a plan on how to host Radical Games. I didn't have a plan that I'll get all these influencers down. I just said, okay, let's go do one video. The video went kind of viral. I had so many people interested. I did a sign-up form, 700 people sign up. And then I did it within 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so belabor the point, but speed is really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first is you're
radical.
Yeah,
you're
willing to stand out.
Yeah.
Secondly is you take action very fast and you listen to your inspiration, you listen to your gut.
Yeah.
How about the
third one is I'm single.
Single.
consistency matters. Yeah. So if someone's stopping you from being consistent and you want to achieve,
Okay.
then you have to set expectations with that person or that stimulus,
Okay.
or just let it go.
Okay. So you do not want to risk yourself being with a partner that holds you back, right? Of course, if someone can empower you, that'll be great.
Yeah. And I guess that's a limiting belief that I have to deal with, right?
Okay.
That if only and until I break it, I will still remain sadly single.
But
My greatest cheerleader.
but
Crying alone when I achieve, when I get hit.
what do you mean when you say that's one of your limiting beliefs?
Or limiting belief as in, can I find a partner
Yeah.
that supports me, that does not hinder me from my goals. Yeah. Because in the past, when I'm with somebody, it's like I cannot focus.
Have you? Okay, there was an activity that I did.
Yeah.
Like right before I don't know whether it's weird for me to just
Please.
share, right?
Yeah.
Like this actually something that was recommended to me by my brother.
Yeah.
So before he met his wife, he wrote down all of the traits and all of the characteristics he wants in a life partner. And the moment he finished writing it, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, that lady appeared in his life. So I did that as well. And you know, one of my criteria is that my life partner needs to be understanding. She needs to understand that my career comes first.
Right.
She needs to understand that my obsession towards business comes first. And that's why that was one of my top characteristics. And there were many bunch of traits that I wrote in. And within 3 to 4 months, that my girlfriend now appeared
Right.
in my life. So I mean, with your influence, I know you as a friend. You are someone that has a very kind heart. You are super talented in making content.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very sure that there will be many people.
Got you.
Yeah.
But maybe my ideal type is a bit too crazy. Yeah.
Bro, there are 7 billion people in the world.
Sure. But yeah, I think I don't deny that there's value in doing exercise, but it's almost as if I'm scared to do it.
Why
I'm
not?
scared
Why?
to fall in love.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it. Because I feel like if I do it, then I meet someone, then I'm scared. So that's interesting. It's ironic because my shirt says fearless. But I guess, we all have our kryptonite.
But thanks for being so open.
Yeah.
And being so like transparent.
Yes,
I think it takes a lot of courage to
appreciate it.
do that.
My right leg is getting numb.
Your what?
My right leg is getting numb.
Okay.
I've become so numb, I can feel you. Oh, yeah.
That's one of my favorite songs when I was younger.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite song. Very sad when Chester passed away, by
Me
the way.
too. Yeah. There was a scene where his last concert, I think he sang this song.
Yes.
What song was that?
One More Light.
Yeah, One More Light.
Very, very powerful song.
Yeah.
And this is the irony, because One More Light is essentially about saying, who cares if one more light goes out?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And that's a song about that one person that you can help. You never know.
Right.
And irony. And it was painful because, like, when I wrote my book also, and even when I was about to take my life, I played Leave Out All the Rest on repeat to actually condition myself to take my life. Crazy in a car. Leave Out All the Rest is like a suicide note, It's essentially saying that when my time comes to get the wrong that I've done,
Yep.
let me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me when you're feeling empty. Keep me in your memory and leave out all the rest. My goodness. I wrote that and I listened to it. Even the suicidal note that I wrote to post on IG quoted that. I'm glad I'm here. We can talk about it later. But yeah, fascinating.
Okay, bro. I mean, I'm so glad that you're still alive today, because among all the kind things that you have raised like $80,000 for a couple.
Yeah.
Like, was it one or two couples? Two couples.
Yeah.
And I think one of the lady was suffering from like cancer.
Yeah.
Right.
Colon cancer and nose cancer.
Okay, so how did that come about? And what do you realize about the impact of content creation?
Completely unexpected. I met Uncle Andrew on 2022 when I was doing a CNY video.
Okay.
I was giving out ang paos, met him. So I went back there just to visit. The moment I stepped into the house, he said, "Wow, Kevin, 我很想你耶. I miss you. You haven't come for very long." Happy, smiling. The next moment he said, 你这么久没有来了，我的太太 cancer.
哎呦。
Yeah, and the moment he said that, his voice broke and he broke down. The moment he said cancer, his voice broke down. And that's captured on video actually. It's captured on video. January 2023, I posted that video. I'm sorry, January 2024, I posted that video.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay. Then he shared his story, how his wife had colon cancer, he has a bag now, stoma bag, how he feels very pain for her. And then I posted that online. And then within a week, we raised about 50K for them. Now they're a lot better. It's a lot more better spirits. Prism sponsored some stuff on them.
Nice.
We got a bed for them as well. Yeah, so it's the power of media. And that's when I first realized. I think that was the moment I realized that, oh shit, my influence actually makes a difference. And then the second one was a follower that reached out to me with no expectation. She genuinely had no expectation. She just said,
Okay.
Kevin, I want to thank you because when my husband was diagnosed with cancer and it was painful for me, my entire family was suffering. The only thing that kept me going was your videos.
Wow.
I get emotional talking about this. She said, that's when you first started creating content. And every day I watch it, it gives me strength. And she didn't expect anything in return. I touched my heart, I'm telling you, she didn't expect anything in return. I said, I'm going to help this lady. So I went down there, I shot one video. I think in one day, we raised $30,000 for them. And not just that, the next week when I went there to deliver back the money to him, his spirit was completely different. His countenance shifted completely. His countenance means the way you look. It's like at first it was broken, it was in pain, it was desperation. 1 week, just 1 week difference. The power of faith, the power of encouragement. Just not even the money, not just the money, He just shifted. And now it's in remission.
Nice.
Now it's in remission. It's crazy. And I recently went back there to visit them. Words cannot describe genuinely how grateful I am to be able to be a steward.
Kevin, thanks for sharing, man. I think that's super inspirational.
Yeah.
But despite all the kindness that you have done, right? Despite all the good that you have done, there are some people who say you're disgusting and you're a hypocrite. What do you think about it? Do you get bothered by it?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it does pierce my soul sometimes. I think it hurts the most when it's linked to your identity. Right? When an insult or a comment is linked to what you hold dear to you. That's what hits you the hardest. You can say anything about me, I don't really care. But if you question my integrity on which I built everything around, that's painful. And I won't lie to you on camera and say that doesn't hurt me. However, this is the reality. I'm a professional and I have to accept that when I put myself out there, filters happen. People are so vast, people are so different, you cannot expect everybody to have the same impression of you. And you have to give grace to these people. You have to say, you know what, if I can win them over, I'll just continue to do what I do. If I win them over, that's great. If not, so be it.
Yeah.
And it helps to know that there are also a lot of people that support me. It helps to know that I will gladly take 1,000 hate comments to save one life. Right? Because there's a quote when I do content. It's not about me and what I stand to gain. It's about them and what I'm privileged to give. Fear is preceded by ego. When I have an ego, how good do I look? Do I look nice? Do people accept me? That's where the fear comes. That's where the challenge comes. But there's no fear in the spirit of service. There's no fear in the spirit of service. I'm fearless when it comes to service because there's nothing to lose. Nothing. I'm there with open heart. I'm giving back. I'm giving my time, my effort, my soul, my love. And if it's not accepted by people, so be it.
And I guess when you are at your higher self, you are made of love, you are made of like joy.
Yeah.
And actually giving is something that makes us all very happy.
Yeah.
So I've heard of this statement before. Actually, we're all like selflessly selfish. Like, when we give, when we do good for others, actually it comes back to us.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
If for sure I agree 100% because the act in itself really makes me happy. Like, I don't even need it to come back to me after that. The act in itself in that moment already gives me. I'll share a brief story. When 2022 I had a relapse, very bad, where it was so worse than the first one. 18 years old, I burned my legs, surgery, my own pee, my dog shit, all the stuff. No time to go into that on this podcast. But I went insane basically twice, right? First time at 18 and second time at 28. Second time, I was desperately trying to save myself, I remember. And I went to this one room flat to shoot a video. Already the suicidal thoughts were so heavy back then. I remember there was a kid there, studying, 16-year-old kid studying. I interviewed his mom, Filipino mom. Her husband left her. I interviewed the son, and the son said, I need to work hard for my mom. And I was so touched by them that after the session, I told her, ma'am, you check your phone. During that time that she checked, I transferred $1,000. I kid you not, right? The moment she saw it, she broke down in tears. She broke down in tears. This is not caught on camera, but she broke down in tears and she hugged me. She said, thank God. She said, thank God. God said, I've been praying. I need this money to help somebody back in the Philippines. I can never forget. I genuinely will never forget that moment. And when I left that house, a bit of tears ran down my cheek because I was not trying to help her. I was trying to help myself. That money that I gave was for myself. I was trying to save. I was trying to save myself. I was saying, like, give me a sign, the sign to leave. And God gave me a little bit of that sign. Frankly, I'm getting emotional again. Frankly enough, I never expected. In that moment, the effect on me was brief. I went back into a very, very bad state almost immediately. But now that I recount it and everything, I feel that it's these small things that kept me alive.
Awesome, man. There's this Chinese saying. It sounds quite chim, but it goes 本欲度众生，反被众生度. Meaning to say that many a times when we want to help others, the person that we help eventually is ourselves. And I think that's beautiful, man.
Appreciate it.
Many of us are really very curious. Like, you have been giving out so much money. So actually, what do you do for business actually?
Mainly media and education.
Okay.
Yeah, so I run a training company. I go to schools, deliver programs for youth. I love kids. There's a big contrast there, but I'm not going to get any programs after this podcast. But yeah, I teach kids, but I teach corporates as well. I hire people with disabilities to do corporate programs. Also have now the media side. I run a direct sales business that I've scaled to 7 figures in revenue. I left it on passive. I did it for 10 years. And now I'm doing content. A content consultant. Please. So if you want to go viral consistently, build a strong influential personal brand and times 2 to times 5 your income through content and lead generation constantly, hit me up. I'm doing a content creation masterclass also. 6 hours on 26 April.
Edrick we'll put a link.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So as someone that has went for Kevin's content, right? It is very rare, right, to find someone who is a good educator and a good content creator at the same time, right? I think most people are only good at one, and when there's an overlap, that's Kevin, right? And recently I had a brief experience, right, working with Kevin, and I must say that Kevin's attention to details is something that is very valuable if you want to build a content.
Yeah.
And to me, that insights and that brain of his, right, has saved me so many hours, because as a content creator myself, these are the things that will take me years to learn. But Kevin has saved that time for me.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment. And just to close up the content side, technically really close it up, right? But just to close that part up, you got to be attentive to detail. You got to have attention to detail to stand out. Because everyone else is doing the run-of-the-mill stuff. Going back to virality, it's not just standing out in content, It's standing out in terms of the way you frame your shots, your cuts, your editing, your dead spaces that you cut out. Every single frame has to be engaging and rehook the audiences. Because virality is closely linked to engagement and retention. That's all it is. How to go viral? Just retain the audience. The more people watch it, the more the algo picks it up, the more you go viral. It's that simple, but people don't break it down to a science. They're not intentional with it. Business is also intentional. Partners are also intentional, I hope. Everything you do in life is intentional. You bathe also intentional, right? You brush teeth also intentional. Why are you not intentional with content?
I agree, man. You have made multiple 6 figures, when you're really young. What advice would you give, right, to someone who is starting out?
I think the best advice is that don't take any advice at face value. Your life is not mine, your personality is not mine, your aspirations are not mine directly, your traumas are not mine. So if you take somebody else's advice, copy and paste, it may not work for you. So look at everything, contextualize it and see what works for you. It's as simple as that, because there's so many information out there. How to make 10K, you can find thousands of videos on how to make 10K.
That's right.
Right? How to make money, you just search on YouTube. And you contextualize it to the best, or you find someone like Edrick that teaches you by frame process, map it back to yourself, and execute it. Yeah. In fact, I have nothing to say that Edrick has not already said.
I think, like I mentioned, we must have the gut feeling and the instinct to differentiate whether we should copy.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but also it's tough because we came from a direct sales business, right? And back then we were very young. So what we thought of, right, was the truth.
Okay.
I believe that was the absolute truth, that the best way to make money was direct sales. And then we thought that Amway is the only way, other businesses are tough. But it actually is not. Right? Now that we have our own product and service, we have an influence, we make so much more money. Absolutely, as in on an absolute basis, right? Whether it's passive is a different argument altogether. But I'm saying that it's not difficult to make money even outside direct sales. Whether you want to go for a direct sales business, whether you want to do sales for another company, whether you want to start your own product or service and sell it, there are so many ways you can do it. You just see what works for you.
But Kevin, would you say that your experience in direct sales has helped you tremendously for you to build your businesses?
Yeah, it's super underrated. In fact, sometimes I don't even realize the impact until I talk to people. Then I realized, oh my, whatever that is very comes naturally to me, it's super difficult for people.
Yes.
Like people fear going on the streets with a mic to talk to strangers, you know. For me, I relish it. I wake up excited, like a box of chocolates. Who am I going to find today?
Yeah.
You know. So it's different because I've been talking to strangers for 10 years, and there's nothing that anybody can say or do that will surprise me. I can de-escalate any situation. I can make best use of any situation. And I've been to places intentionally because I believe that extremes are where the best lessons are. So I've been to many weird places in my life. Yeah.
So if you were to start like all over again, right? What would you have done differently?
Nothing. It's very hard for me to answer this question because I feel like I'm very grateful for what I've been through. I think that life is best lived forward, not backwards. If I change certain things, I can say that maybe I'll come out of direct sales faster here and there. But if I say that, then I wouldn't have been through those unique experiences. I wouldn't have got a relapse, and I wouldn't have perhaps the same unique story, nor the capacity to run radical kindness. Because radical kindness existed in a very specific set of variables. Right? I had to get a heartbreak, I had to have a depression, then it eventually came about. Right? Quick brief, right? Radical is because this girl said I was too radical. Then I decided to put in the name. You know?
Okay.
So there's a lot of different things that came about that allowed me to do that. Like if she had allowed me to continue to pursue her, radical kindness wouldn't have grown at this pace.
Not only did you like run away from the pain, you embrace it and you made it your strength today.
Yeah, I heard a voice, right? I was traumatized and I was in pain. I was on the floor crying, and I heard a voice that said that, "Hey, Kevin, this is a test. You know, true love it's easy to love when you're at mountaintops, when everything is lovey-dovey. So true love is when you are bitter, when you're broken, when your heart it's just shattered. You can find it within yourself to still love. That is true love." And I said, I'm going to take on the challenge. I said that I will become the most kindest, loving version of myself. I was surprised even myself. And my goodness, I didn't just surprise myself. I surprised maybe Singapore, I don't know. I surprised people from the depth of my giving. I think that's why people find me very unique. They think I have a hidden agenda. But if they understand my story, they realize that this is the most natural thing to do. And everyone else is radical. I'm the only one that's normal.
Nice. So even if the whole world is against you, the whole world is wrong, right?
The thing is that I know that I won't say they are wrong, but I'm saying that I'm just pitching you a different proposition, right? You can consider this as an audience. You need not take it if you want to. But I would argue that you're born to this world with nothing, you die with nothing. You can't take money to the grave. And money is best used when it's spent on other people. I get the greatest satisfaction not from the watches that I buy or the branded goods that I wear. It is from the smile on people's faces. It's from the tears that go down a kid's face when you have blessed their life.
Fully agree, man. There's a Chinese saying, 什么是智慧？智慧是拿那些带得走的，或那些带不走。
Yes.
So money cannot be brought to you when you die, but but your spiritual level, the enlightenment. Some people say it's karma, you know. Yeah. Very wise, man.
What profit if you gain the whole world but lose your soul?
Yeah, lose your soul.
Matthew chapter 6 verse 13. I just pulled that out of my ass. Not Matthew chapter 6, somewhere. Google
it. And I completely understand that. That's why, you know, in our community, instead of chasing for the next 10, 20K, money is great. But the moment you make an impact to someone, and when there's a butterfly effect where they change their family's life and they can potentially change more people's life, I think that's more meaningful.
But take nothing away from the fact that we need to make money.
Of course.
And I think I need to make money now. I've given out too much. I feel like this year is a year of monetization. So that's why I'm seeking Edrick's help. It's been extremely helpful to me.
Your goal is to give out 200K this year. What's your game plan?
Find another speed. just kidding. I got to find multiple speeds, but specifically for business, right? And now I got to disrupt the business market. I got to find an industry that I can operate in. For now, radical homes is a big thing that I'm focusing on. I'm going to learn to narrow my focus. I think the issue that I face is shiny object syndrome. Because of my influence, because of my ability to get people, I can jump into opportunities and make money fast. But then I'm fast realizing that is splitting my attention too much. I'm switching gears 5 to 6 times in a day, and it's very tiring. It's very, very tiring. So I realized that I just focus 80% on maximum 2, radical homes and the content consultancy.
Radical edge, right?
Radical edge, I will call it radical edge for now. People say age, they have a different kind of thing, but you know what I mean, right? Okay, never mind. But see, novel. Anyway, so those two, 80%, then other 20%, I'll systemize it, reduce my equity, I'll get my business partners to run it. Yeah, so that would be the game plan to get to 100K a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, with the value that you have added to us, like in the content creation space,
Yeah.
I see many businesses who really requires your expertise.
We'll see how. I'm just a one-man show at the moment. I got to learn how to build systems, Notion, teams to help me to support my services. That's the next step I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm good in spontaneity, bad in systems.
So guys, I'm not sure if you noticed, right? But you know, people who are usually successful like Kevin, they are willing to put down their ego whenever they feel that they need to improve in something. You can see that Kevin has confidence when it comes to content, but he's not willing. He is willing to let down his ego when it comes to business and you know, systems.
Yep.
So Kevin, would you say that, you know, that is important when it comes to like success?
I don't think it's important. I think it's the only thing that matters. I would say though that ego does help in certain degrees. I think that narcissism, you know, people don't like the word, it's thrown around a lot, but you have to believe that you're great. You have to believe that you're in your potential. You have to believe you're the greatest salesperson out there, that everybody you're speaking to gets influenced. When I was in direct sales, I would speak to myself every day. I'm sincere, authentic, honest, loving, and kind. I'm sexy, successful, whatever, my whole thing in the morning, right? When I'm still brainwashing myself in the past. But it helps because it conditions my mind to believe that I go out there and I persuade anybody that I speak to.
Yeah.
You know, so you need to have that, but it has to be balanced with a little bit of like humility.
Yep.
Yeah, and to know when you say, oh shit, I actually don't know much about this. You know, I need Edrick's help. I need people who are more successful than me in building systems.
So Kevin, I want to talk about this word called brainwash. Right?
Okay, yeah, sure.
You know, whenever I say this word brainwash, people tend to have a negative connotation to it. Like, do you think that being brainwashed is a good thing?
I think society is a brainwash. I think I think education is a brainwash.
Yeah.
I think your mother's scolding to you is also a kind of brainwash.
That's right.
You just choose the brainwash that you're part of. It's as simple as that. You choose the outcomes that you want.
Right.
I'm not here to be Socrates and tell you that even Socrates himself did not say that there's only one way to live a good life.
Yeah.
Right? There are multiple ways you can argue to live a good life. Some people find passion or obsession. Some people find it on a quiet surrender in a beach, watching the sunset. Maybe some people find a mix of both. But you find it and you execute on that. And as simple as that. So in order to experience that, you have to brainwash. Like if you want to achieve $1 million, for example, right, before you're 30, you have to be exceptional. And by definition, the word itself, you've got to be an exception.
Yes.
And to be an exception, you have to, quote unquote, develop systems for your mind, your body, your soul to execute and take actions to get there.
That's right.
In other words, that's a brainwash.
All right. So like the society will brainwash you to not be exception.
They will brainwash you to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a piece of paper. They may not give you an advantage. And people want to complain about us selling a $150 course when they're spending tens of thousands of dollars going to school, doing tests, getting upset at their friends, complaining about their toxic lecturers that is boring, and wasting 4 years of their life. And you tell me $150 to help you to 10x that is a problem.
I feel you, bro. I feel you, bro. Like this is something that I can't understand.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm not saying this to justify poor courses and scams, right?
Yeah.
That's a separate argument. Yes, there are scams out there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that education itself is valuable.
That's right.
You know, and who's to say that, you know, a couple $1,000s is not valuable for you when you're spending tens of thousands on formal education? Do you think the education system is broken?
But we're getting to that now.
Wow. I don't know, just a side thing.
When you talk about that,
We can always put it separately. It
like,
doesn't matter.
okay, honestly, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Right. I might get cancelled for this, but I think that it's really broken.
Yeah.
Some might say that Edrick, you're A-level graduate, you're a uni dropout. Of course, you'll say that it's broken, right? But I'll share with you a few perspectives. First and foremost, education worked 40, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. But when the people who created it had an intention of creating workers. So they had no intention of giving you freedom. They just wanted you to be good workers. And no doubt, if you have a degree 20, 30 years ago, being a worker gives you the financial stability. But today the world has changed, right? So in the past, in order to get information, the only way is to go to universities. But today with ChatGPT, with social media, with the internet, you can get information anywhere. And now you're paying 30K, going 4 years of school to do what ChatGPT can do.
Yeah,
It's
really, really fascinating. I think if you really look at it from an outsider's point of view, it's completely redundant. But I think that our system is so perfect to the point where it's broken. Let me explain.
also,
My parents are both educators, right?
Yep.
NIE's program is the most comprehensive in the world. Our education system is robust. It is tight. It
Yep.
is very standardized.
Yep.
But in that standardization, you would almost always sacrifice personalization.
Yes.
When you
that's right.
stratify people, when you code them, when you evaluate them based on a certain set of stringent measures,
Yeah.
you will inevitably leave out or not be able to evaluate other kinds of geniuses.
Yep.
The ability to sell, the ability to lead, the ability to communicate, the ability to paint art pieces that are beautiful. You can't evaluate that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where it's broken, because people will grow up thinking that they are fish. People will grow up thinking that their worth is tied to these measures only,
Alright.
when it's not.
Yeah. It's like
And
expecting a fish trying to climb
climb
a tree.
That's what
Yeah.
Einstein said.
Yeah. That's right.
If you expect a fish to climb a tree, he will spend his whole life thinking that he's stupid.
Yep.
But it's not. You just told him that you just brainwashed him
Yeah.
badly.
Right. So there are many people out there who did not realize their potential because of how the education system has kept them.
Yep.
Right. So of course, disclaimer: we're not saying that we want you guys to quit school whatsoever.
Yeah. You need to have a plan, I would
Yeah.
say.
Like never don't quit your school, don't quit your conventional path until
You have a-
your side
yes.
hustle like makes it on.
You have a clear plan, or if you want to do a side hustle on the side, think of how your education can support that.
That's right.
My final year project eventually became my business.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rebound and
Rebound,
Resilience.
okay.
Yeah, because it was my first,
Yeah.
I knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur. So I
Okay.
said, why not use my FYP, get my free labor from my friends, right? Get free marketing, do it up. I already have a proof of concept. The moment I graduated, I just put a price tag to it. Yeah, so I was intentional about my university. I was very intentional about my university. Yeah.
There's also something that I really hate about the education system
Yeah.
is that they penalize you for making mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were told our entire lives that your grades will determine which school you can go.
Yeah.
They will directly determine your career. And I think that created a lot of fear in people, and they're so afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah.
And in entrepreneurship, the only way to learn is to fail forward and by making mistakes.
I can go far left on this and really demonize the system completely, but I don't want to do that. Like, it's really like very far left or right, I don't know. Education is not even left or right. It's like a very universal thing. But people are I mean, okay, I'll tell you this. Almost all my business partners and advisors are dropouts. That's all I can tell you. It's very fascinating. They are poly dropouts and they're making more of me. They are my business partners. And I came from the quote-unquote best school in Singapore. So it's very, very fascinating.
So any advice for aspiring entrepreneurs who are afraid of losing their friends?
You find new friends. I think that in the valleys dim, you will find a light somewhere.
Yes.
But sometimes you're going to go through the valleys a little bit by yourself. I took too long. I went through the valley a very long time. I'm my greatest cheerleader. You don't need to do that. But along the way, you can find people. Radical Riches community. Do join the Telegram group. You'll find a group of like-minded people. Edrick as a community as well. Do join. And you can find like-minded people to build your dreams together. And trust me, believe you me. When you find people that are in line with you, when the energy is the same, they're vibrating at the same frequency, you bounce off each other. You're excited, you're exuberated, you're exuberant. And you move forward with enthusiasm and passion in the direction of your goals.
Sometimes your voice suddenly changed.
For variety,
Okay,
retention.
for variety, right? I think it worked. I was like,
Yeah.
But just to add on to what Kevin mentioned, like we will definitely find new friends. Okay, the sad thing is recently I met someone who is my age, 30 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he took the conventional path. And I was asking, do you still keep in touch with your friends? They don't as well, right? Like, when you grow older, when you have like own family, like your circle of friends is going to get smaller. So don't let it stop you from chasing your dreams.
Yeah, and most let them think about you once in a while when you do crazy stuff in content. Other than that, no.
I'm quite sure they watch your content. I'm quite sure.
They don't watch entirely, but some of them are doctors and they do have asked me about mental health before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Just one last question before we end this podcast. It's not really a question, it's just a compliment. Your face is as clearer than my future.
Are you serious?
My goodness, guys. His face is even cleaner and clearer in person.
But
It's like glowing.
really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My goodness, no wonder everyone thinks he's 17.
But
You go on the Asian boss video, everyone, this guy is 20, he's 20. The millionaire. He looks like 16 years old.
what does it mean by when he was young? He's still young. Like, thanks for that. Bro, you use the product that I'm using
Artistry.
is from Artistry.
Serious?
I'm serious.
Ah, shit! I need to start using my artistry already. I've not used it for years. I'm sorry, Amway.
I just use the
sorry.
cleanser lah. I mean, my brother buys it for us, so I just use it.
Oh, I still use the cleanser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Use
the
the
only
artistry
thing I use.
hydration.
I don't use anything else.
Okay, I need to start. Okay, cool. I use the Artistry Hydrating Serum. Hydrating Cleanser, sorry.
Okay. Can put an affiliate link then.
Yeah. Yes.
With one last question, right? If you were to start from scratch, what will you do to make your first 10K again?
Like right now?
Yeah, 10K a month.
With my experience and competency now?
No. Okay, wait. Like you don't have, you lose all your network.
Okay.
You lose all of your
Was I
resources.
at the same level of evolution that I was at 18 or my current level of evolution?
Let's just say the evolution then.
Then
Not
evolution
now,
then?
not now, yeah.
Okay, to be very honest answer this question. Evolution then, I cannot make money. I was insane. I was 18 years old drinking my own pee. A bit hard to make money.
Assuming you're sane.
Yeah, okay.
So okay, your evolution now,
Ah,
the mental health now,
yeah.
but without the skills and without the experience you have.
The evolution is linked to skills. Okay,
No,
I'll answer your question. Sorry. I'm sorry making it
Yeah.
difficult for Edrick. Let me answer this question, okay? I think that I would give myself no way out. I would say that if you do not make this 10K in 1 week, your parents are going to die.
Okay, so that's the frame that you want.
the frame I'm going to create.
Okay.
And I feel like, people don't make that money simply because they don't have a deadline. If you give anybody a deadline and a strong enough reason, they'll make the 10K.
Okay. So assuming you have, I mean that's a very strong point.
So I will not give you a how, I will just give
Okay.
you a why. Because as long as you get a clear why, you figure out the how.
Yes. Well, I think the key thing is making a commitment, right?
Yeah.
To be committed to make 5 figures rather than to be
It's
interested.
not even a commitment. I feel like pain is a better driver than pleasure. I
Makes
think there are
sense,
only
makes
two things that change people. Either a very strong dream or a very strong tragedy. I
Mm.
wouldn't wish tragedy upon anybody.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to create it somehow in your mind through pain. Maybe like take a picture of your ex, like making out with your I'm just kidding. Use some negative motive. Because fastest way, right? I'm not saying it's most sustainable way. I'm not saying it's most sustainable way.
Yeah.
But if you tell me fastest way, I would use the forbidden pre. I would just essentially think of the people that I love together with someone else, and that would give me enough energy to go and take revenge and make money.
To turn that hatred into
Yes.
Yeah.
At least into making money first, and then you evolve into something else more productive. Don't stay in it forever, because I think that's not a great energy to be in.
Thank you, Kevin, for your insight. It was a great session we had together.
Thank you.
And a final shout out to those who are looking for a content strategist, someone who is great at building a
You want to
personal
come
brand.
for the masterclass first on 26th, then decide after also can.